This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glynn Lavender.
Hi and welcome to episode 497 of Shutters Inc. This would be version 3, version 2 or version 3.
Attempt 3.
Yeah, attempt 3.
Yes, version 2.
There we go. That's it. This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com and there's Mr. Glynn Lavender from creativephotoworkshops.com.au. How are you?
Hello, everybody. It's very lovely to have you on board tonight. We're really pleased to hear you. Once again, your feedback from the show, the last show we put out was just fabulous. Enough of the guys. There's some constructive criticism, wouldn't go astray from time to time, but, world's best podcast.
Be careful what you wish for, mate.
There's only so much praise a person can handle without maybe the head getting just slightly larger than it already is. So thanks, everybody. It's much appreciated. But maybe, I don't know, show a little love for Bruce as well every now and then. Just, a little something wouldn't go astray.
There you go. How have your last 3 weeks been?
Oh, it's been up and down like a Syrian empire, dude. It's
right. Okay.
The highs, the lows, then the even lowers, and then I didn't know I could get that low. Somewhere below there's a basement.
Right.
The computer the other day. Yeah. So I'm editing photos.
Yeah.
Right. It's time to pick up the kids from school.
Mm.
So I leave the computer on.
Yeah.
I drive to school and back. We're talking 15 minutes round trip most. Come back, screen's black.
Okay.
Doesn't want to wake up. Uses to wake up. I'm bashing buttons. I'm turning on and off. Nothing. I'm doing all the press this button for 30 seconds whilst holding one foot up in the air while singing.
Yeah.
I'd say clean. All the tips and tricks to I even this is how desperate I got. I saw this one video where this guy showed if your Surface Pro goes black screen and won't wake up, you take the cover off, you take the keyboard off, you fold the stand down, you unplug any power, you put some nice soft fabric underneath the screen so you don't scratch the screen when you're putting it face down. And then you do compressions like you're doing CPR on the back of 7 compressions in the very middle.
Right.
I even did that 3 times. I was desperate. Could not get the damn thing to work at all. Yeah. So I tried that. I tried for like 15 hours.
Wow.
Trying to get this frick working, So I finally gave it. On the Saturday morning, I went down Friday afternoon, went down to the computer shop, local one, explained the problem. They said, we'll see what we can do. Come back tomorrow. So I come back 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock the next afternoon. And I've walked in and said, mate, we tried all day long yesterday. Absolutely nothing. We could do nothing at all. Because at one stage, the little Surface logo came up on the screen, but then went black again. That was it. I said, well, that's more than I've had. I said, there's bugger all we can do about it. He goes, let me give it one more try. Yeah, so he presses the same buttons I've been pressing for 15 hours. It comes to life instantly.
Oh, you're kidding.
And he's looking to go, what the hell? Because that'll be $80. Thanks, mate. For fixing your computer. Bastard. So that was 2 days of funsies.
Yeah.
It's like,
so after you were unable to get your computer started on Thursday night, I reached out to Joe Edelman. And I said, hey, short notice, what are you doing in the next 36 hours, And so we agreed that we would record on Saturday morning my time, which would be Friday afternoon his time.
Yeah.
So we record, and straight away I've said to him, oh, mate, your audio sounds great. What have you done? I said, you got a different mic. And he said, yeah, I have. And so we had a big chat about how he's got this other microphone and he's doing some podcast stuff with it. And I said, well, I'm assuming you're doing your own. You're not just, set up for the occasional appearance with us. And he said, yeah, I am doing my own. And so we had a bit of a chat about that, and he said, I'm now set up so I can record my end if you want me to. And I went, yeah, that'd be great, because then we both sound like we're in the studio, And so he recorded his audio and sent it to me, and I did what I always do, which is the audio that I record of, our conversation goes to a flash recorder that's a 19-inch rack unit audio specialist hardware thing that records to CF cards. And what I do is I send my voice track to the left channel and I send your voice track to the right channel, and that way I can do split channel editing. So anyway, I've recorded me and Joe, expecting that Joe will then send me his WAV file, which he did. And so I then sit down to edit the podcast on Saturday afternoon, and I've dragged my file off the CF card into Reaper, and I've dragged his WAV file that he sent me into Reaper, and I'm thinking, why is his WAV file a good 10 or 15 minutes longer than mine? I'm thinking he must have just left it recording after we've stopped, and there's all this extra crap at the end, because I could see that I'd lined up his audio at the beginning of the podcast, so I could see, him on the right channel of the stereo recording as well as his mono recording that he'd sent me. And so anyway, I've started editing the podcast. I get about 15, 20 minutes into it, and suddenly the audio that I've recorded starts glitching and just dropping like thousands of samples, and it was just an absolute mess. There was nothing I could do with it at all, and I just had to say, Joe, I'm really sorry. I've had this major issue at my end, and I've just got to scrap it. And I had this theory, and it's this. I was using
Joe's fault.
And yeah, it was all Joe's fault. That's right. So I had an 8 gig CF card, and what I would do is I would record on this CF card every time we record a podcast, and when we finished, I'd take it out of the recorder and I'd mount it in a card reader so that I could drag the file into a folder on my Windows system in order to do the editing. And when I'd done that, I would wipe the card and put the card back in the recorder. And it occurred to me as I'm, dealing with all of these, these issues on Saturday, I'm thinking that's probably not such a great idea, because it means I'm recording over the same sector of memory all the time, because I'm always recording from the beginning of the CF card. It's kind of like using the same, 10 minutes of a cassette tape over and over again. You're going to wear all the oxide off it, So that's my theory. So I ditched the card and grabbed another CF card, because my old A850 used to use CF cards, so I've got a bunch of CF cards lying around, and put another card in the recorder, and then just did a dummy recording for an hour, and it didn't miss a beat. So I'm figuring that that's what was the issue. So what I'm going to do now is not erase the card between podcast episodes. And that way I'll just use up the whole card, and this one's a 32 gig card, so I can record about 32 hours of audio on it, so there's no hurry to erase it.
Our podcast feels that long to some
That's
people.
right. That's right. So we'll see if my theory holds water. Yep.
Here's the question, though. Why didn't you, as a good podcast host, just re-record your audio, pretending to be asking Joe questions and feigning surprise at his intelligent replies?
I seriously considered attempting it, but once I sat down to...
What would have been a lot funnier is you say something completely opposite to what his answer is. And then he answers, and everyone's going, what the hell's Joe on? And then you can come back, Joe, that didn't really answer the question, dude. What I asked was this. And then he'd say, you could have really played that up. Do that to me sometime. I'll be happy if you did that to one of mine. Yeah, that'd be good.
So anyway, we'll see if my theory holds water over the coming weeks. So anyway.
So if you did that to Joe, you might get more listeners. So, not the podcast you're expecting.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So have you been doing much photography?
Well, I've been out shooting with this new project for Tamron in Japan.
Oh, of course. How's it going?
I went out for my first day.
Yeah.
Next day, went into lockdown.
I was wondering about that.
Just like, can you freaking believe it? Fighting to pay a gig, get one crappy day into it, and it all just fell to pieces. It's funny because I have my notes for what I was going to talk about the last time we were going to record, and it just said. So I'm looking at it, going, I wonder if it holds water, if it still makes sense now. So I've got there, first day of shooting, dash. I almost forgot. Now I don't know what I've forgotten what the almost forgot was.
It's probably that you'd almost forgotten that you actually had a job to do.
Maybe I almost forgot how to shoot. I don't know. But whatever it was, I almost forgot it. So I figured I'd better look at the pictures,
Right?
See if that could give me any sort of more clarity. And no, sadly no. So I took the kids out.
In all seriousness, though,
yeah.
Going into lockdown is one thing, but they won't stop you from earning a living. So surely you could have continued to do that job, right?
Well, the problem is you need a letter from the employer.
Oh, right.
You've got to try and explain to your people who don't speak much English why you're not doing the job they're paying you to do. Yeah. And they go, Benson, we not want to give you any more pain. We give jobs somebody else. You stay okay. You stay safe. No, I wasn't going to risk that the slightest.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I went to the city. I was going to try to do because part of the brief is they want me to photograph somebody called Archie Texture. I think his name is Archie Archie Texture. It's a very strange name. And someone called Abby Stract. Right. So a couple of people. So I thought I'd go to town. They put a whole buildings up since I've been to the city last.
Is that right?
But I'm not talking little ones. I'm talking like 40-story hotels.
Wow.
There's this monstrous new W hotel. Everyone calls it the Pants Hotel because it looks like a pair of legs and a pair of pants.
Right.
This is huge. So I saw some photos. That'd be pretty epic to shoot around. So I get down there, construction stuff everywhere. Can't shoot.
Yeah.
It's like, first cab off the rank, just typical, But I'll start at the beginning. I drove in the city. A couple of kids drove in the city, parked it near our local fruit and veggie market that also has like other stalls.
Yeah.
Walked straight through, and the first thing I see is all this photography stuff. And I met this amazing woman called Mary and had just this incredible collection of photos going back 150 years, old cameras, buckets of slides, just all 3D stereo stuff that she sells at the marketplace.
Wow.
Old tin type stuff, old sporting photos from teams from 100 years ago, sort of stuff in Australia.
Wow.
Really cool. So I just started chatting to her. I almost forgot about the job. And I was looking at these beautiful old tin type plates.
Yeah.
She had like a stack of. She must have a stack of about 40, just in this one pile. Because all those came from this suitcase. Down. She points to this suitcase. She goes, "I stopped at a garage sale, which I never ever do. I stopped at some guy's garage sale one day, and I was looking around and I opened up this old suitcase, and inside the suitcase was just jammed with old photos.
Wow."
Report cards, all sorts of stuff. This entire woman's history was in this one suitcase. And she's looking at the guy running the garage sale. Goes, "You can have the whole lot for $50."
Wow!
And she goes, "That's what's in here. This is someone's entire life." He goes, "It's my grandmother. She's dead, and I don't care. I just want to get rid of it all."
Wow!
It's like, oh man, a tragedy. This poor woman. It's a beautiful entire life summed up into one suitcase and someone who doesn't give a rat's ass about it.
Yeah.
The photos was just amazing stuff. It was just so cool to look through.
Yeah.
And I was going to give her a plug. She has a website. I was going to give her a plug, and then I forgot.
Maybe that's what you forgot about. That's what your notes referred to.
No, it's a couple of pages. It's a couple of sheets. Stops. So I went to see. So I thought, well, I want to do some architecture stuff. So, and I know the National Gallery in Victoria's got some pretty cool sort of shapes.
Right.
So I went to the National Gallery. I found this awesome reflection and these beautiful columns and stuff, and it was looking pretty darn good. Now, conditions for the shoot is you can't have anyone's faces in it, or no one recognisable. You can't have any logos, built company names, nothing recognisable. And last time, a couple of times ago, I shot this awesome reflection shot that was I just loved it, with autumn leaves in the background and everything else, and the sky coming down these stairs. This is a lovely photo, but we don't understand what it is, so we're not going to use it.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So I'm a bit wary shooting this reflection shot, but it was looking really good. I spent a stupid amount of time shooting away at these reflections.
Yeah.
Now, I knew I had a fair bit of time to kill because I'd booked myself into a thing called the rain room. And the rain room is it's a installation. It's an all black room with one big spotlight pointing sort of at your face, and rain pours from the ceiling. Basically sprinklers dropping water like rain.
Okay.
So you get these amazing silhouettes with rain and everything else coming down. So I thought that'd be pretty cool for a shot. So I booked in for this. It's in the art centre right next door. So I'm hanging around for ages in this national, but I'm loving the stuff I'm getting. I'm shooting all this great reflection stuff and blurs, and the columns are looking fabulous, and I've got all these leading lines. It's like, oh, great. Then I thought, well, I've got about 40 minutes before I've got to go into the rain room, but I better check how you get in. Now, where's the entrance? So I Google it, and it's no longer next door. It's now moved to St Kilda.
Oh, no.
20 minutes away. And my car's about 20 minutes away from where I am walking.
Oh, no.
So I at the gallery, fly all the way to the car, jump in the car, fly down to this bloody rain room, and I got there in time but it's like, what just start, And so I've shot in the rain room, pretty darn cool. Got home, I can't wait to see these reflection shots on the computer, lined them all up. They're all
Why?
I don't know, it's just no life, no interest, it's just, it just shows it's been so long since I photographed. Any piece of crap was looking good,
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at it going, it's garbage. Yeah, there's not a single usable shot for about 40 minutes shoot. I just shot about 200 photos and things. Not one's even remotely interesting, It's like, remotely interesting that will fit the brief, that is understandable what the image is. It's not too abstract, all this stuff. And it's like, so that was good enough to waste the time. And so my next thing is hard work, 5 hours shooting for 2 to 3 shots. So I must have got 2 or 3 shots out of that for 5 hours. One of the best photos was whilst I was waiting to go to the gallery, I photographed this leaf in a bit of water.
Right.
That was my hero shot for the day. It was a high wasted shot. Then I've got down there my notes. Road trip next week.
Right. To Tassie.
I got road trip next week was me and the head product manager for Tamron Australia. We were getting in his camper van. We were driving up to country Victoria, meeting our video guy. We were going to shoot this great salt lake.
Okay.
And pray for some. It's next day lockdown. So that didn't age well. Then model booked is my next thing. So I had to shoot model. So I was supposed to be shooting with her yesterday.
Yeah.
I get up, as I always do. I like to get to places early. It was a 10 o'clock meetup. I was in the city for 8, just about to arrive in the city. Ping, look down, not coming. I'm sick.
Oh, what?
Could nothing go this damn shoot,
Yeah.
So, okay, you're sick. Yeah, I can push through, but I'm vomiting. No, don't. Just. So I messaged the video guy who's going to be following me around today, a different video guy, and it's like, model's not coming. You could just follow me around, and I'll pretend to take some photos of buildings or something. Because no, I'm free tomorrow. If she can do tomorrow, I can do tomorrow. So she could do today. Tomorrow was today.
Yep.
And so I've been in town all day today shooting. And she was actually really good. I'm sure she actually generally was sick. And first time she claimed she's ever cancelled a wedding, a model shoot. Yep. And she seemed really good. So I'm sure it was legit. But once again, what else can go wrong?
Yeah.
Shot that. And again, you're shooting the stuff. You go, oh, that looks really good. And then you get home and you go, you think you shoot for 3 odd hours. I think and it's difficult when you're shooting with a video crew because you've got to do the same thing multiple times so they can get at different angles. Yeah. And you go, let's walk through this tunnel, but now can you walk with me following you, and then can you walk through it again with me in front of you? Yeah. And then can you walk through it with me from the side of you so I can cut it 3 different ways? I sort of get your feet. So everything takes longer. So I've got these. So I've got a couple of nice shots of her today. So that's pretty good.
Cool.
So far I've shot. Let me pull up my folder here. And I've been driving around looking for other stuff to shoot. I found I was driving down the road. There's this football oval with all these sunflower seeds on the sunflowers on the side of it.
Oh, nice.
So I pulled over and shot that. Yesterday I was at the airport shooting planes landing. Trying to get something remotely interesting. Shot some shots in this because she didn't show up yesterday. I had to shoot other stuff, so I shot some cityscape stuff. Tried get anybody building names.
Yeah.
Not easy to do. They build names. It's got a staircase, So I've got so far I've got 27 shots submitted.
Right.
Which is out of the 25 that they want. But they want 25 finished images that they choose.
Yeah.
You can't give them 27, say, discard 2. So they say, no, I get you those. So tomorrow I'm off to Tasmania. So first time travelling anywhere.
Yep.
And the joy of joys, I'm talking about great mate Cameron Blake, a Hobart photographer who's an excellent landscape photographer.
Yep. And
we're going to get him on the podcast. He's going to come and do a few episodes with us. He's really opinionated, so he's not going to fit in very well. So organised, say with him, what if I came down and he just quit his job to go full-time photography.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm making work place for no money, which is very good. So we're going to hang out for 2 days, book the tickets, $154 return.
Wow.
No, bargain.
That's great.
Next, bing, message. We're sorry to announce it. Your flight to Hobart's been cancelled.
Oh, what?
So you go online. There's next flight 1 hour later with the same airline company, but their different badge name. They're more expensive badge name.
Yeah.
Oh, so 1 hour later flight, but I'm sorry, it's 2.5 times the price.
Yeah.
So,
but they have to put you on another flight.
Don't?
They do. You've already paid for a ticket. They have to honour the ticket.
But there's no flight there anymore. They don't have to at all, do?
Yeah, but they're the ones who cancelled the service, and it's not because you didn't show up.
They're not going to do anything for you. So 6 hours later, ping, look down. Your return flight from Hobart's been cancelled.
Oh,
so you bastards, go online. Oh, there's a return flight, same time, 2.5 times the price.
Yeah, right.
So $154 returns now $360 return.
Yeah, right.
So, but it's just good. I'm desperate to get some photos that aren't the same crap I see all the time.
Yeah.
And you go out with someone who actually knows the location really well, knows how to shoot.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I want some Aurora. But I've asked him if he can put the Aurora on all in one blob, like at 9:30 at night, not little bits all night long, because that's just give me one big flash at 9:30. I can get it early.
Yeah.
It's a fairly simple list of stuff I've given him. I just want the perfect sunrise, the perfect sunset, dramatic light on old buildings, perfectly done with incredible clouds above them, Aurora with some meteors optional. And he promised to get them all done.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is lovely. I love it when a plan comes together.
Yep.
So we'll hear next week's episode and see how bad all this goes. But I'm kind of looking forward to going away. It's going to be
I can imagine.
To head off somewhere.
Yeah.
And then spending an inordinate, not an easy word to say, an inordinate amount of time on Clubhouse.
Have you?
I
got your link, but it's an iPhone link.
That's not my problem. You're an Android nerd. They went to the best straight away, and they forgot all the leftovers. Yeah, so I've been hanging out with lots of other photographers and Guy Kawasaki. You know Guy Kawasaki?
I know the name.
Famous environmentalist and scientist and stuff. Well, he has his own Clubhouse chat room.
Yep.
Ask me anything.
Yep.
We just go to this world-renowned expert on stuff and ask him stuff. It's pretty darn cool for free. It would cost you money to go and talk to Guy Kawasaki and ask him questions.
It would cost you money just to go and listen to him talk. Forget about asking questions.
Asking your own personal question, because we've got a guy in Australia called Dr. Carl.
Yeah.
Who can ask questions, and he's always got pretty darn funny answers or good answers too.
Yep.
The guy, he's got his own thing, and there's all sorts of stuff like that going on.
Nice.
Elon Musk was on the other day doing a chat, just asking questions about any old piece of crap you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And since we've mentioned the Musk man, we should mention Perseverance this week.
Yes.
I saw today NASA released I think it was a 3.5 minute long video of watching the lander going down. So it's all the video footage from from the spaceship as it's dropping down, as the crane's going down, all the stuff. It's quite amazing to watch. Yeah.
Yep. I haven't yet watched that, but I do want to watch it. But one of the three things that I had on my list is a blog post from digitalcameraworld.com, and it's a story about the 23 cameras that are mounted on the Perseverance rover, and it basically details what each camera is for, and which department put it there and why they put it there, and it's just a good geek out for anyone that's really wants to nerd out over the camera technology that's attached to the rover. So I'll put that link in the show notes for anyone that wants to check that out.
Are they brand name cameras like Sony's and Canons, or they're just?
They didn't mention any brand names. They just said there's this type of camera doing this, and there's that camera doing that, and this one's pointing up, and this one's pointing down, and and
20 megapixels on that one. Mastcam Z.
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, Super Cam camera. They've got some imaginative pixel camera. That's
great names.
Uses X-ray fluorescence to identify chemical elements in target spots.
Yeah.
As small as a grain of salt. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sherlock Context Imager. Watson. Now that's a good name for a camera. Watson.
Yeah.
What's on the photo?
Well, it goes with Sherlock, doesn't it?
It does. Oh, of course, Sherlock. What? Oh, dear. I get it now. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Cache cam. I wonder what that one does. Navigation camera. I wonder what that does. Hazard avoidance camera. It's got it all.
Yeah, it's got it all, mate.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
So, like I said, for anyone that wants to just sort of geek out over the camera tech on board, I thought it was a good little wrap up of all the cameras that are on there. So,
quite remarkable.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to when they get the helicopter drone thing up and going. Yeah. That's going to be amazing to see the
imagine the guy who stacks that.
Yeah. Well, Brad and I were talking today at work about about how it would have to be auto sensing for hazards. You couldn't be relying on someone down here on Earth with a gamepad controller going, turn left, no, now.
Now was 8 minutes ago or whatever.
Exactly. and then you get footage back of a tilted horizon at 45 degrees and the rotor's just throwing up dust.
So
that is going to be cool to see.
Well, in light of kind of that, one of my links is some guys put together video footage of the moon, where you can now do a real-time circuit of the moon from this spacecraft.
Oh, wow.
It takes 4 hours.
Right.
To watch the moon incrementally shift underneath you. It's pretty coll. I watched 2.5 hours of it. Yeah, I'll do an in-depth review. But no, I watched like 30 seconds. But it's pretty amazing that anyone's gone to that effort, but to watch it, it kind of feels like you're there. It's
right.
Cool. So that was one of my measly 3 things as well.
That's awesome. So is it basically just he's shot the moon at different stages of its rotation and then just stitched it all together? Is that the idea?
No, it looks to be that he's used like footage from NASA from landing craft or
okay,
all that sort of, because it's fly over the top, really dead close sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Stuff.
Wow.
It's it's kind of different. Yeah, nice. Not the way you normally get to see the moon.
Yeah. I'd like to break into the podcast briefly to mention that we now have a Patreon account. If you get any value at all from our photographic giggle fest each week, we'd really appreciate it if you could spare a couple of bucks a month just to help keep the servers running. The link will be in the show notes. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
Your week's to be, other than crappy computer issues, your week's been okay?
Just working and recording audiobooks and doing all that sort of stuff. Haven't really had the camera out in the last couple of weeks.
Did we discuss an idea of you putting together an audiobook of our podcast?
I think that might have been one of your crazy ideas that I agreed with at the time and then did nothing about.
The best bits of the 500 episodes, yeah,
Right.
special 500th edition. Pain. I was going to ask, because somebody was talking on Clubhouse Day about podcasts. When did you start doing the podcast? What year?
2005.
Okay.
So, yeah, It's been 16 years.
What would be interesting to see is what kind of crime you could have committed in 2005 that you would now be out of jail from.
Yes.
You think about it,
Yeah.
I mean, second-degree homicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, manslaughter.
Yeah. Yep.
Threatening to blow up the government. Speaking of the government, not ours. Solidarity to our friends in Myanmar. Let's hope they manage to overthrow this coup.
Yep.
That's happening. I've been a lot of my keeping in touch with my guides over there, and they're filming daily in the streets of tens of thousands of teachers, doctors, nurses, engineers, everyone protesting against the military takeover of their country.
So, without going on a half-hour rant, can you just in 2 minutes give me a quick wrap-up of why there's a military coup in the first place and why the civilian population is against the military coup?
Well, no rant, you say? Okay. No half hour. Okay. Basically, it's always been the country's always had a heavy military control up until, I don't know, let's say 10 years ago. They finally started getting democracy. They finally got a freely elected president, and then the military started feeling like they were losing control of their country.
Right.
And they didn't like that. Just people in power like to keep power, as we know.
Yep.
They started doing bad things a la genocide over the last 2 or 3 years. The military out of control. The government couldn't stop them. Then they held more elections last November. Funny enough, kind of the same time as the American elections, and the militaries came out saying, massive voter fraud in Myanmar. Again, does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
Basically spouting all the same lines that were coming out of the US, and then, whilst there was kind of a bit of failed, pathetic attempt to take over in America, these guys did it properly and arrested all the leaders, locked them all up, and took over the country because they didn't want to lose power.
Yeah, right.
And the wealth that comes from it, incredibly corrupt.
Yeah, right.
The military's been very corrupt for a very long time over there, and but everyone's out there saying no, it's not fake news, no, it's not voter fraud. Can't you tell by the hundreds of thousands of people protesting every day that no, we like who we voted for? Yeah, I'm just sort of hoping that something will be resolved in a way that allows them to move forward and still allow a democracy, but also allow a functioning economy. Get tourism started. They've had a lot of problems the last few years, but with the genocide, it stopped a lot of people wanting to go to the country, and all the poor villagers and people have spent all their life's hard-earned savings to try and set stuff up for the tourism industry that no longer exists.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been keeping in almost daily contact with my guides over there, and just sending what little support you can do. It's just for a beautiful people in a beautiful country. Terrible thing.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, what else have you got on your list of stuff?
Diddly, really. No, I had Canon. Have just. I think, when was it? It was in beginning of February, announced they've just made their 150 millionth RF and EF lens.
Wow.
150 million.
Right.
Which is, that's quite a lot.
And that's over a 34-year period?
That, yeah.
Since 1987.
Maybe it's underachieving then, if that's the case. I went to the launch. of the first EF lens in Australia. The first autofocus camera. I went to the EOS 650 and 620 were their first entries into was it into autofocus. I think it was the maybe I'm a brain sort of, but I was there. I remember clearly. I was there for the first ever Minolta autofocus night, and I won a calculator
Right.
that told horoscope. I was pretty proud of that. And the first Canon launch too. Yeah. In fact, I went to the launch of Canon's first ever kind of digital camera 10 years before digital cameras came out.
Right.
And I think, was it called an iPic or something like that? It was just a little, it basically recorded onto disc, onto like a tape.
Oh.
It wasn't a digital image per se. It was a electronic captured image.
Right.
Not digitized. And it had like 640 by 480 resolution or something. But this is like, and you could only play on your TV. I don't think you could even print them out from memory. Yeah, it didn't have a great life. Didn't sort of sell too many cameras. But that was amazing technology at the time. We were all just gobsmacked.
Yeah.
And in fact, speaking about bizarre early technology, do you remember the movie American Werewolf in London?
Yes.
I saw that for the first ever time in the viewfinder of a video camera.
Is that right?
Back in the days of the first video cameras that came out that took a VHS tape in the camera rather than have to carry around a separate extra piece. And, of course, the cameras didn't have screens. They had a little tiny
viewfinder,
120 by 240 resolution viewfinder or something. So I put American Werewolf in London in that, put headphones on, and watched that movie for the first time in 3 centimeter vision.
Fantastic.
Oh dear. It's like back in '82 or something like that. Some way back when.
Yeah, for sure.
That was kind of funny. So 150 million lenses. Yeah, well done, them. Yeah, last time we were talking, we were talking about Canon's announcing they made profit and Nikon saying how much money they'd lost, if you remember.
Mm.
But I was going through stuff just before I noticed that Canon said they sold a lot less than they did the previous year, but they made more operating profit, which was interesting. So Nikon had massive sales drop, but also massive profit drop.
Yeah,
Canon had sales drop and profit increase. Maybe they should sell less, make more.
So is it just a case of they've introduced efficiencies in manufacturing but kept the profit margins up?
Well, I doubt it, because efficiencies in manufacturing tends to mean reasonable volume still, if their volume's way down. But their profit was up. So
yeah. Which
is speaking of volumes down and things going up, because I'm looking to buy a new car at the moment, as we know.
Okay.
And last year there was a 23% reduction in manufacture of new vehicles.
Wow.
Which has had an impact in Australia of a 36% increase in the price of second-hand vehicles.
Wow.
So you can go and buy a 2019, so 2-year-old, Toyota RAV4 with 30,000 kilometres on the clock for the same price as new.
Wow.
That's how much they're holding the value.
Jeez.
So you got a choice. You can buy new and wait 3 to 6 months for delivery, because that's the delivery time frame.
Yep.
Or you can buy a 2-year-old car with a fair whack of kilometres already on it and pay the same price.
Jeez.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
and someone mentioned in England that cars are cheap over their second-hand cars. So obviously it's not impacting everywhere, but it's certainly having an impact here in Australia.
Yeah, right.
And I've noticed that cars that I saw one tonight. It was the new version of the car. I think 42,000. This one was 5 or 6 years old, had 110,000 kilometres on the clock, and they're wanting 35,000 for it. And they're probably good. So second-hand cars out there. It's quite crazy.
I saw a mate of mine in Hobart posting something on Facebook a couple of days ago, and he titled it, "What Are They Smoking?" And it was a 2017 model SSV Holden Ute, and it had like 80,000 Ks on it, and they wanted $65,000 for it. And I just said, just the tyres, Nige, that's all they're smoking.
But that might actually be its value, though.
Yeah.
I saw the same. So apparently, Commodores, which is an Australian sedan that used to be made in Australia, they're going through the roof in value. I read literally two days ago.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So maybe this Ute's the same thing. It's no longer made, and people pay what things are worth. Well,
that's it. Supply and demand.
They pay what they're prepared to pay.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe it's a fair and reasonable price, but a fair and reasonable price.
Yeah.
And the last thing I've got on my list, well, actually, all three of my things are astronomical, basically. I had the moon.
Yeah.
I had Canon 150 million lens. That's an astronomically big number.
Yep.
And the last one is NASA put out some incredible photographs of Jupiter's deep jet streams. Incredible. The best detailed images of Jupiter I've ever seen in my life. And quite remarkable. If you like your spacey stuff.
Yep.
Have Andrew at that.
Very cool.
And that's all fascinating news for not being on air for 3 weeks.
Excellent.
Overall, basically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I have a story that is very similar to the anecdote you told at the beginning of the podcast about the, woman picking up the suitcase full of images. And this was something that Adam sent us a couple of weeks ago, and it was on abc.net.au. And basically, it's this story about the Beijing silver mine, and I have a vague feeling
about Beijing silver mine.
We may have covered this story in the past, but apparently the idea was that the owners of the mine were collecting all of these old photographs that nobody wanted, and they were melting them in order to retrieve the silver nitrate, I think it was. Yeah, silver nitrate, because they can basically recycle the silver nitrate and use it in other chemical processes and, laboratories and whatever. And so all these old photos were a great source of potentially reusable silver nitrate. And so they were going to melt all of these photos down. And this guy, who's actually a French bloke, heard about it and reached out to the mine and said, look, I'll buy them off you so that you're not losing the income that you would have made from, retrieving the silver nitrate. And he bought all of these photos, like 800,000 images. Dang. And it basically just covers all of these random people's life events. And it did somewhere in the story. It said the period from 85 to 2005. So basically a 20-year period of just all these random images, wedding images, and something
all the stuff that's just disappeared.
Yeah, and something I didn't realize was that in this mine they had all of these recreations of famous landmarks around the world. Like they had a sort of like a
Beijing World Park,
quarter-size Eiffel Tower and a quarter-size Sydney Opera House. It's just bizarre. So,
why travel when you can do it all in one country?
Exactly.
I went to Disneyland to see It's a Small World.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. We definitely saw the silver mine before, though. We covered that before, but we wouldn't expect Adam to remember because he doesn't actually listen to the podcast.
That's right.
So we can say nasty things about him, and he can't defend himself.
That's right. And the last thing I had was an email from Walt Kippenhuck, who said, "Hey Bruce and Glynn, Bruce mentioned a guy who took pictures of individual snowflakes in." He says this episode. I can't remember which episode he was replying to.
It's only about 2 or 3 ago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought you might enjoy this link to the master of such things, Don Komarechka, fellow Canadian based out of Barrie, Ontario. I'm pretty sure he even details his process on the site. This guy is also a great future podcast guest. I've heard him many times, very passionate about his craft. And the link is donkom, donkom.ca. And Joe and I, in our failed attempt to record this episode, had a look at some of these images, and Joe was very much impressed with the quality of this guy's work, because this guy's really big on his use of colour. And of course, Joe is very, very much about colour in his images. So, but some of this guy's work is just beautiful stuff. So anyway, I'll put that link in the show notes for anyone that wants to have a look at it.
Yeah, so it looks like his equipment is a macro lens, a ring flash, and a glove. So the gloves probably coming pretty handy. Well, that's a picture above. It's a picture of a camera with a macro. No, we should definitely get him on board.
Yeah.
Just have a talk to him. Eh?
Yeah. Hey.
Would it be rude to go to him? But yeah, I'd like to talk to him. Find out how do you get one snowflake? How do you get it away from all the friends? Yeah, all the other snowflakes.
That's it. Without it melting.
That's going to be the challenge, surely. How do you separate them?
I know.
Without them melting.
Crazy.
Anyway.
Well, mate, good to chat.
Oh, he's just saying that.
And let's hope that the recording has actually worked this week.
Well, next week I'll be away.
Yeah.
On another road trip. So maybe reach out to Joe and see if you can actually record properly this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. So you'll be in Tassie?
No, I'm going tomorrow to Tassie.
Oh, okay.
And next week I'm away again for the last 2 days of shooting for this project down the coastline here.
Nice.
So I'm praying it's the last 2 days of shooting because, kind of fed up with it already. Yeah, so hopefully that'll be the end. I've got some little projects to shoot.
Why don't you get Evan Shue to take you on a plane trip somewhere? You can fly over a border and no one would know.
Well, you think he would offer, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Ev, mate.
Damn it. Well, all I want's a nighttime aerial fly over Melbourne, and hold the plane steady in midair for like 30 seconds to get the shot.
That's right.
Can you stop that propeller vibration? It's making the shots go blur. I actually saw. Speaking of something similar to that, a flight from I think it was from Melbourne down to Antarctica for a photography tour to photograph the aurora. From the plane.
Wow.
Actually had professional aurora photographers on board to help guide you get good shots.
Wow.
But you think, can you have thinner windows? Because that's I think it was like $2,000 or something.
You'd
for
have
one
to turn off
night.
all the cabin lights so that you weren't getting any reflection off the glass.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure they had all sorts of things set up. But they had pro photographers on there guiding people. I thought, what a cool idea.
Yeah, that's great.
And COVID safe. Well, unless someone's got on the plane.
Yeah.
But you're not landing anywhere. You're not.
Exactly.
Land somewhere and pass it on. So yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right, mate. Well, you enjoy your 2 road trips.
I shall indeed. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
All right, mate. Catch ya.
Bye.
Shutters Inc. Another audio2u.com quality podcast. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.